Hello everyone, it's Robin the Delta Crafter and I want to welcome you to another video on my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be sharing how to use one stencil and get 3 different looks out of that stencil. Stencils are offered by many different companies and they typically have a great price point. So let's go ahead and get started and talk about the supplies that we're going to be using today. I'm using the Cheetah stencil from scrapbook.com. This is a large stencil. I think this is 5 by 7, so it is a great size to use for both A2 cards and A5 cards. I have some Nina Classic Crest Solar White, 80-pound weight for my card panels. And then I'm also going to be using several different inks from Pink Fresh Studio. So I'll be using Sparkling Rose, Apricot, Sunshine, Key Lime, Aquamarine, Blue Jay, Ballet Slipper, Bubble Gum, and Raspberry Bliss. And on one of the cards, or one of the techniques I'm using today, I'm going to be using Glitter Glitch Gel from Gina K. To help keep that stencil in place when I'm using it and inking it or doing whatever technique I'm using, I'm going to be using Pixie Spray. There's lots of small little intricate places in that stencil that I want to stay adhered to the paper, so the Pixie Spray helps with that a lot. And then I'm also going to be using mint tape to adhere the paper to the stencil. So off camera, I've sprayed my stencil with the Pixie Spray, and now I'm applying my card panel to the back of the stencil. I'm securing that card panel to my stencil with the mint tape. So I'm going to turn this over, and now I'm ready to begin. I'm going to do the same process with all 3 techniques that I'm going to be sharing with you today. I have a new glass craft mat from Glassboard Studio that I absolutely love. If you check the description for this video, you will find a discount code where you can go and purchase one and receive a 20% discount. I also have a review video on this glass mat, so be sure to check that out on my YouTube channel as well. So the very first technique that we're going to be using is an ombre inking technique. So this is going to be ink blending using this Cheetah stencil. For this ink blending, I'm going to be using 4 different colors, and you see them right there on the screen. So I'm going to come in with my ink stand. Now, if you haven't heard of an ink stand before, an ink stand is used to hold your ink pad in place while you are crafting and creating. It is a game changer to me because I do a lot of ink blending and I'm able to keep my hand on my project and while simultaneously inking up my brush without having to use both hands to ink up my brush. So be sure to check them out on Instagram and on their website. So I'm coming in with my very first color of pink ink in Ballet Slipper. This is the lightest pink color, so I'm going to start at the top with this shade, and I'm just going to blend it in over the stencil and until I'm satisfied with the amount of ink that I have laid down. So you can see a couple of times I have to go back and load up my my blending brush, but that's okay because I just want to make sure that I have enough ink to get the color and saturation that I'm looking for. So I've got my first color down. I'm going to switch to Raspberry Bliss. The Pink Fresh Studios come in a quad, most of them anyway, come in a quad of tones in a particular color family. So this is one of the quads for the pink tones, and Raspberry Bliss is the second color in that tone. So I'm going to lay down some Raspberry Bliss, and then I'm going to follow that up with the third color in this tonal family, which is Bubblegum. So the Bubblegum is, you can see that the colors are getting more and more intense as I move down in the 4 tones. So this is Bubblegum, and I kind of subconsciously divided the paper into 4s so I can have 4 bands across the paper. 4 bands of color, that is, as I'm laying down my inking. So we've got the bubblegum in, And we're going to finish up with Raspberry Bliss. You know what? I just realized I did not use the second color in this tonal family. It's Sparkling Rose. My bad. Sometimes you make mistakes when you're crafting, but you just keep going. And that's what I did here. So I'm going to keep going with this Raspberry Bliss, and that's going to be the fourth and final color in my ink blending. One of the things that I like to do when I'm ink blending is I like to go back over my colors in reverse order, just to make sure that the blend that I have is exactly what I want. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm going to go back with the bubble gum, do just another small layer of that. Now I'm going to use the Sparkling Rose on top of the previous raspberry. So you can see it gets a little bit more intense right there, but that's okay too. It's still going to be a beautiful card. And then I'm going to finish off with Ballet Slipper, which is the color that I started with. So now it's going to be time for the reveal to see how this ombre effect on this stencil, with the stencil, comes together. So let's take a look. And being able to just have that stencil held down with the magnets makes it really nice. Look at that ombre effect, guys. It still turned out very, very pretty. Such a beautiful shade and tones of pink that I really do love it. And so this just goes to show, even if you make a mistake, it can still be beautiful. So the second way that I'm going to be using this stencil is, again, with ink blending, but we're going to be doing a rainbow. So we're going to start off with the first color, which is going to be Sparkling Rose. So we're going to start with the pink at the top and work our way down through the rainbow. Now I will say that at the time that I made this video, I only had standard ink blending brushes in rainbow colors. I now realize when you use this many colors, you probably will do better if you have ink blending brushes that have a smaller head, because the size of this ink blending brush is allowing me, or causing me, to put down quite a bit of color. And so when we get to the bottom here, you're going to see that I'm going to have to squeeze in these last two colors. But I've started with Sparkling Rose, and I moved down to Apricot, then into Sunshine, then Key Lime, which is my green color, and now I'm adding a layer of Aquamarine, and I'm going to squeeze in this Blue Jay just at the bottom there. And it's actually going to be just enough room to squeeze that in. But I do think if I had a set of smaller blending brushes, that this would have been much easier to do. So again, we revealed our, pull back the stencil, and we reveal our rainbow stenciled background. Came out very, very nicely. Kind of reminds me of some Lisa Frank products from the 80s. Anybody remember those? Leave me a comment below if you remember Lisa Frank products. So the third and final way that I'm going to be using this stencil is with glitter paste. So I'm going to lay down some ink first, and I'm going to lay down glitter paste on top of that ink. So I'm going to go back to that pink family, and I'm going to be using bubblegum to start with. And what I'm actually going to do with this is I'm going to put a stripe of bubblegum at the bottom, like you see me doing here. And I'm also going to put a stripe of bubblegum at the top. Then I'm going to add a stripe of Raspberry Bliss to the middle, because Raspberry Bliss is that more intense color. And so it's going to draw your eye to the middle of this paper, kind of pull your eye into the middle of the paper, of the panel rather. So here I am adding that stripe of bubblegum at the top, and now we're going to come into the middle with our Raspberry Bliss. And again, because we're ink blending, we want to make sure we get a good blend, so we're going to go over the edges of each of these stripes of color to make sure that the blending is nice and even. So I'm adding this Raspberry Bliss into the middle and just touching the edges of the bubble gum to make sure that everything is blended nice and evenly. So again, having the magnetic glass board makes this a pretty easy job to do. So I'm using Gina K Glitter Glitz Gel in Iridescent. And this glitter glitz gel has some gold flakes in it, or iridescent flakes in it, and it's so pretty. So what you see me doing here is taking off a piece of press and seal tape, and I learned that trick from Tim Holtz. And that just helps keep your glitter paste and mixed media gel and all different kinds of things like that. It helps to keep them, keep the moisture in once you've opened them. Now, I will tell you that once I opened this Glitz glitter gel, it was a little dry. So I did a little research and learned that you can actually rehydrate Glitz glitter gel by adding a little bit of warm water to it and stirring it around, and it will rehydrate. Now, it also depends on how dry your glitter glitz gel is. Mine was not so dried out that it was powdery or anything, so I was able to rehydrate it to use on this project. So there's a crafty savings tip for you. You want to make sure that you get that stencil into some water rather quickly so the glitter glitz gel doesn't dry on it. But look at this background that we've created. You can see the different shades of pink through the glitter glitz gel because, again, this is the iridescent one. But oh my gosh, that iridescence just adds so much to it. So here are the 3 completed cards using the 3 panels that we made with our one stencil. Off camera, I used the Hello Die and stamp set from Honeybee Stamps to create the sentiments for the cards. I love the way that holographic paper just really pops off of that pink ombre background. I love the way the silver and black complement the rainbow in this card. The gold metallic paper for this sentiment pairs nicely with the iridescence in the glitter glitz gel. So that wraps up our time today with one stencil using it 3 different ways. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and if you have, please consider giving it a thumbs up. You can always find me on social media at The Delta Crafter, as well as on my website at thedeltacrafter.com. Have a great day, everyone. Enjoy!